I'm Mark Lewis. I'm one of the co-founders of the company. I'm the CTO, generally in charge of all the technology selection and support for clients. Platform selection is a process that we've developed over many years of trying to help clients match their specific needs within their company within the solutions that are out there on the market. As we know, there are lots of different types of solutions, both in terms of workflow and cultural approach, but also the functionality and the usability. And in this industry, it is very much, there isn't a one solution fits all. So there's quite a detailed process that we go through to help the client really understand and define what it is they really need, and then to objectively match that with pre-qualified solutions out there. The right platform is so important because it's the fundamental tool that the business will use to execute and deliver on their strategy. It's a truism that technology is an enabler rather than the end in and of itself. But particularly in the digital space, for obvious reasons, the technology is critical. It underpins pretty much everything you're trying to do. And if you have technology that is difficult to use or is limited in scope or functionality or can't scale with you, you're not going to be able to deliver on your strategy. The common obstacles when choosing the right platform are one, to really be clear about where it is you're trying to go. And of course, none of us can see into the future. So it's very hard to plan for what you might need when you don't know it. But again, our experience can really help companies to kind of understand and to map out their own roadmap. And there are lots of unforeseen costs and experiences that it's very hard when you, as an individual company who might take on a particular piece of technology once every few years, to really to gauge and anticipate some of those challenges, whereas we do dozens a year in a very fast-moving industry. So we're much better placed to anticipate some of those challenges and to help the clients foresee that. Our methodology for platform selection is quite a detailed process that goes through 8 separately defined stages of helping the client define their requirements, go through the process of evaluating separate proposals that come through, scoring those initially, going through deep dives and due diligence, reference checks, and going through quite an objective, carefully managed process. The range of platforms we evaluate is very broad. First of all, we are specifically and determinedly completely objective and independent, so we have no ties with any specific vendor or technology or platform. But more than that, we're always on the lookout for new opportunities, new players, improvements. It's a very dynamic, fast-moving industry, and we take quite a bit of time to continually research so that when a client comes to us with the requirements, we are aware of, at the current state of play in the market, who are likely to be the best fit for them. And of course, the range of applications, it continues to grow. So when we talk about technologies, we're not just talking about e-commerce platforms, although we do a lot of that. There's CMS systems, there's recommendations engines, there are merchandising engines. We're doing increasing amounts of work in ERP systems and in stock control systems, email marketing, CRM. So there's a whole load of connected technologies that we have extensive experience in. A couple of the pitfalls that companies can make going through a process like this. I think the number one thing would be actually not being really clear in a detailed enough level of what the requirements are, all the way through from integration to touch points in a number of areas in the business. So I think it's really important. You can easily get caught out by not quite realizing that in your operation you need to do something a certain way at a certain point in the process. And if you haven't defined that and caught that up front, you might find yourself buying into a solution that when you get to it isn't able to do that, and that then causes a lot of problem. And I would say the other big risk factor is not taking a full account of the efficiency and usability of the back end of the tools. I think Practicology is the right partner for clients when selecting a platform, because number one, we're retailers. We've got a deep background in actually, trading commercial retail businesses, and not just online but offline as well. So we understand their business, we understand the operation of the supply chain, the buying and merchandising, and how all of that feeds into the operation online. And I think the other side of that is that we have been trading e-commerce sites and continue to trade e-commerce sites. So we are users of our own advice, and we're learning all the time, and we feed all that experience back to our clients and help use that to help them guide through the process.